everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Anime Undraft. I'm your host, Drew, this week. Episode 168. Joined, as always, by Rolando and Mark. Say hello, gents.
Hello, gents.
Hello, gents.
Yeah, so we got a good episode here for you today. A beer that I have been waiting to try. Rolando has it as well. It is the Hedge Witch, a Mosaic double IPA, a limited release from Modern Times. So we'll be sipping on that. Mark's got a little bit of a different one. He has Institution Ale Co's Into the Wishing Well, but also a DIPA, similar hops. And what's going to be interesting, we'll talk about this later, is how different these beers both look and taste. So look forward to that. As always, we got some anime topics. We have our Orashiri. If you're new to the show, that's where we watch some old shows and talk about them. So we have the episodes 20 of Mawaru Penguin Drum and Shinsekai Yori. We got some news, anime news later, and our discussion for some seasonal anime as well. So, like I said, jam-packed, and we'll get right into it. I don't know, there's only one way to start this segment, at least when we're watching Penguin Drum, so Rolando, hit it! And we really have to play it because we haven't heard it in the actual show for a couple weeks now. 3 or 4 weeks maybe. Yeah, it has been too long. Because we're getting into a little bit of serious mode in Penguin Drum. So let's jump right into it. Mark, you had mentioned earlier that this was a good episode, and I tend to agree. It is a very good episode. We get a little bit more clarity as to the whole family dynamic for the Takakuras, because that's something we've been talking about the past few weeks, and we're like, well, are they all really a family? Is somebody not related? You know, what's kind of going on here? So we kind of get enlightened to at least a part of the three-way, or the two brothers and sister. We get like a third of it or half of it. I don't know. I don't think about it. But anyway, so we talk about that. I guess let's just jump right into it. So the episode starts off with Himari talking with the doctor, you know, the idea of chasing love, and Himari kind of refusing to do it, stating, you know, she would rather freeze over, or we kind of learn later in the episode, she'd rather go to the child broiler than chase love. Even though it means like being empty inside or becoming invisible, that whole kind of idea. And then we jump like right into kind of like this past sort of flashback as is kind of common in this kind of show. But we see the idea of the Kiga group. So we finally have like a meaning to that word. We kind of keep seeing the Kiga, you know, come up in several different parts. A lot of times when we're looking at the apple, you know, the symbolism of the apple is very important. But the idea that, you know, what we talked about before, it's a cult. I kind of have a note here too. Everyone kind of seems to be considered family, because we have, you know, the young Natsumis, both Mario and his sister. We have Shoma, who's there. You know, we have kind of everybody Kamba as well. I'm just like blanking on his name. What's that stupid kid's name?
What's the kid in red? What's his name?
Yeah. Red-haired boy. No Kamba, but you kind of have everybody. And before we get into the flashback, Natsumi kind of mentions that, you know, I will never consider. She almost calls it a farce. She's like, I will never consider, you know, your ideal of this Takakuri family real, which is interesting because as soon as we get into the flashback, she calls Kamba her brother. So it's kind of the idea, that cult ideation of, you know, everybody's considered family, you know, everybody's kind of on the same level, you know, all that kind of stuff. So interesting to think there. But the most important part probably of the flashback is the interactions and conversations that Himari and Shoma have. and also the idea of them kind of becoming a family, maybe in a more wholesome, but also like in a romantic sort of way. They take care of Sun-chan, the little kitty cat. You can
Poor
see.
cat.
Yeah, poor cat for sure.
Loki also didn't like this episode for that specific reason.
That's right. It is a little sad. The cat kind of gets taken out with the trash, literally. But a lot of family imagery. The two of them sitting together, laying next to each other. Them raising the cat together. So the idea that we talked about it earlier, but Sanetoshi, the doctor, kind of mentions that she has to find her chosen prince, and we come to find out now that was Shoma. He saved her, and so just kind of that interaction, and we see through the show finishing that again he does save her from that child broiler, kind of cutting off the Colt's end of the family, because his dad's like, yeah, these guys they disappear, they're gone, they're invisible, and he doesn't really want to accept that. So I've talked a lot, so I want to get kind of your thoughts, Mark, especially since this is the first time you see the show. The thoughts on kind of the idea of them being Adam and Eve, being punished, and then going off and wanting to live as their punishment. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I still feel like I'm a little bit reeling from the whole reveal that Himari and Shoma are supposed to be soulmates. I still think it's kind of odd to me, especially since neither of them are trying to get back to that that connection that they have. It just seems like they're just happy where they are. And so now that Himari's saying she doesn't want to try to chase love, it's I don't know if she's slightly given up that and just kind of chosen to accept where they are at the moment, or if she's trying to if she's just lying to herself at this point, which I'm leaning more towards that. And so this whole Adam and Eve thing was just kind of interesting in the sense that I don't know if they are alluding to the whole, I guess just not only the incestual side of it, but just the biblical side of how they are supposed to be living with their sins at this point. I don't know, man. I feel like this whole Himari and Shoma thing is still strange to me because, one, I don't want it to happen just because I think it's weird. And two, I feel like it is, they're trying to force it, and I think that's where the problems are coming. Or they're afraid of it happening, I should say. And that's why we're running into so many of these problems.
Rolando, kind of going with that, do you agree, disagree, like the relationship, thoughts on Shoma and Himari?
Can you skip me? I'm trying to fix this echo.
Oh, for sure. We'll come back to that then. One thing I did want to talk about though was the importance of knowing or giving a name. We saw that in Slime Guy a few seasons ago, but the power that a name holds, and I thought it was kind of interesting. Shoma learned Himari's name, and they named the cat kind of right at the same time as she's disappearing, because we know that her eventual fate is to end up at the child broiler, which is kids becoming invisible. I think that's kind of what saves her.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was as soon as Shoma was going to save her, I was thinking about that whole name thing. I was well, she's not going to be forgotten technically because Shoma is still there, and he's remembering her, and he's actively looking for her. So I guess I see that connection. I think that's it's very unique, and it's very sweet and endearing. And I think that's why I feel this whole romantic side of it is so weird to me, because it seems more
so much more natural as brother and sister, right?
Yeah, he's trying to protect her is the way that I see it, rather than he's doing this out of romantic feelings and because he wants to. I don't know. Just the whole romantic side of it just seems weird to me. I don't know. I'm not. It's uncomfortable to me. It just seems odd.
Sure. Rolando, back to you now. Thanks for jumping on those audio issues. But nice. What do you think of Shoma and Himari's relationship as it was defined in this episode?
I mean, it's kind of odd because like how old is Himari, right?
Mm-hmm.
She always like seems like this
younger.
child.
Yeah.
That's like a lot younger than them, but I'm not sure if that's like a thing that has to do with like her condition or what, because the one thing that kind of bothered me this episode, and like this is just like an Ikahara thing, but it's just like, why do these kids speak with such an eloquent way? Not like super like flowery, but like they speak with like complete sentences that an older person would speak with.
Is this going back to like I think we've talked about this in a previous show where it was, talking about writers who are writing, as adults who are writing for children, and like, that kind of diction that comes out in writing as opposed to natural speaking.
We talked about it in Araburu, and that I remember it bothered us then too, because it's just like, why would kids like speak in such a way that's like more adult like? And that kind of bothered me with Himari and Shoma here, because they're speaking. It's as if their voice actors and actresses are just speaking in a more childish voice, but they're speaking a script, and that kind of pulled me out of it a bit. And so I wasn't really like, I didn't pay as much attention to their relationship together, more as like, why are we portraying this relationship? Like, it kind of pulled me out and made me consider why are they soulmates? Like, sure, like Shoma is young and lonely, but why are they so like educated and eloquent as children? It just kind of bothered me, and like it just felt like odd.
Himari to me always comes off like this super like knowledgeable dreamer, where she is like way above, even as she's like older and we see her like in the actual show, and as well as when we see her younger in this portion. But she's always, and you see this too, I think my point gets made when she has the conversation with Sanetoshi, and she's having like these really like deep like intellectual conversations and philosophical conversations with these adults, and it is kind of awkward. She seems like way advanced for her years, and I agree with you, Rolando. It seems kind of awkward when she's even younger. Kind of some of the conversations that she's able to have with Shoma, just like a little kid would definitely not talk about that. They'd be like, that's a kitty cat, let's take care of this kitty cat, or something along those lines. But I do ultimately agree with you. I think it's a choice by Ikuhara, because a lot of his characters to act this way, at least in the shows that I've seen from him. So one thing I wanted to ask you guys as well, so we know that Himari was sort of destined to go to the child broiler and to become forgotten, and eventually kind of Shoma saves him. We have the idea that Kanba, sorry, her we have the idea too that Kanba can't save her, and we kind of see this too at the end of the episode a little bit. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think about the idea that the reason Himari is sick or keeps dying is because that is her fate, that is her destiny to become forgotten?
That's an excellent question. And from Rolando's look, I think that's probably up to me to try to, he's interested in hearing my answer. And I'm just buying time because I have no idea. I really don't. I think it's hard to say, because we keep hearing this, from the father, that we're on the wrong track. He says it multiple times. It shows up multiple times in this episode, and it makes me wonder whether or not like Himari is destined to be forgotten or die, or just like she doesn't belong in this certain timeline maybe. And so that's why, I think that not only are they trying to change her fate, but by changing her fate, they are therefore going to change everything else. And I have a feeling that by changing Himari's fate, they are essentially going to forsake just everything else. Like nothing else is going to go right, and therefore we could potentially be on another wrong track. Like who's to say what the right track is at this point? It all seems like convoluted to me. And I kind of don't know what like the right track is at this point. Is that, you know, saving Momoka? Is that, you know, saving all those people who possibly died in the accident? Is it saving Mario? Is it saving Himari? Man, I really have no idea. I mean, I would like Himari to survive and not be forgotten, but I think at this point it's hard for me to say.
It's weird too, because especially with her conversation with San Antonio, she's like almost like okay with you know,
yeah.
go and same thing we've seen like in a couple episodes, you know, when she's about to like fall from the construction site, you know, she's kind of resigned herself to that fate, but everyone around her, at least the brothers, you know, are actively trying hard to save her. So it's interesting. Rolando, thoughts on that?
No, I don't want to.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. The last kind of question that I had too, how does Kamba fit into the puzzle here? I think we kind of saw in the end that's going to get answered next episode, more than likely. But you know, how does he fit into Himari's fate, or the fate of the Takakuras, or however you want to think about it?
Yeah, I think it's like, as you mentioned, like the whole cult itself, the Kiga cult, is sort of seen as like they're all just family, and I think that he is taking up the mantle of kind of possibly leading this next generation, and he's therefore, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I guess maybe not so much as like you know, it's his job, but he probably feels like he needs to protect you know, his family. I was gonna say something else too, and I think I just forgot it.
I have a question for you.
Shoot.
How does this put into perspective the whole Natsume situation, and how her father is like, oh yeah, I'll come back, and how her grandfather is very rejecting of her father, calls him a failure?
Yes. So that thank you. That was actually what I was going to mention. I was like, just looked at my notes. Yeah. So does that mean that therefore, you know, that the Natsume Corporation was also involved? You know, was her father involved in being part of the Kiga core cult? Yes. Most likely. So yeah, like, you know, I don't know if she's also, well, no, I should correct myself. Yeah, absolutely. She knows about it. So she knows that, you know, what Kamba is doing, and, you know, she knows the sort of the inner workings of the cult. I'm just going to keep calling it a cult because that's
a cult.
Just what it is, right? Yeah, like I feel like, you know, she knows what's going on. I think more so than I was giving her credit for.
Now, so we know that Kanba doesn't believe in fate, right?
Yeah.
Like, he says it in the beginning of the series. What do you think that has to do with his whole situation regarding Himari, and how, you know, he's wondering, like, he wants to be the one that saves her, but he's also the same one that's sort of carrying on the Takakura parents' like will, like the will of the Kiga group.
Yeah. Let's say he's like active right now because he can be.
Yeah, but
right.
Like he's carrying on sort of this this doomed to fail reality, or, you know, strategy, survival strategy. Like what? Like how does that sort? Because like he's sort of mirroring like the failure of the adults, right? So like,
yeah,
how does that play into his whole situation with like Himari and his relationship with not just the Takakura family, but, you know, now you find out his relationship with Natsume and them. Yeah,
it's kind of unfortunate because if anything, he most likely had a closer relationship with Mario at some point, because it sort of seems like Himari was this outsider who was brought in by Shoma. And now, like, seeing from that flashback, we see Natsume and Mario, who are also there. I'm kind of curious as to why he's not trying to protect or help Mario as well. Seems like he's forsaken them for some reason, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's his connection to Shoma or something. I don't know.
We see groups of threes a lot in this show.
Yeah.
Natsume is the few that are missing a member, at least for now. So
they had to.
I mean,
They did have 3. That's right. What happened? Food for thought.
I don't know, man.
It's hard. Like,
Yeah, there's so many things going on.
I don't want to say anything. Like,
Yeah.
I know Drew is having a hard time not trying to spoil anything.
It's hard to lead the conversation knowing
Knowing where it's going to go.
ultimately what happens. So I'm like I'm trying to be better at not letting things slip. And Rolando's like, this stupid idiot.
I feel like a child just
Saying
watching
stuff.
this show. Like I'm just like so lost at sometimes. I like that whole conversation with Himari and Natsume. I had to like go and rewind it like 4 times. I'm not even like kidding. I had to go back a couple times and I was like, what did she just say? Like, what does that even mean? There's just so many things that it's like easy to miss, especially because a lot of like the imagery in the show too is like very deep. Like it's very thought provoking because it's not just like, oh, these kids are like getting dumped into like conveyor belts and shredded, like then they're dying. It's like it's not as simple as that. There's a whole lot more to it. And so it's like as that's happening, I'm thinking about like, oh man, like these kids are like disappearing. That's like really sad. So like, yeah, maybe they were sort of on the right track, but then they also killed a ton of people. So it's also really bad. Yeah, the show is just it makes me think too much and it hurts my brain.
Do you know
My
the,
smooth brain.
do you know the actual real life cult, like what their beliefs were?
I think you mentioned it before, but I can't remember.
They thought that society was messed up because it was too like not just like materialistic, but like it was too modern and like relied on like technology and stuff. So they were trying to bring like they figured that their judgment day was coming and that they needed to bring humanity back to a more simpler time. And
Yikes.
and that you can see that reflected in even with the Kiga group and the fictional group behind the whole like attacks.
Yeah.
They're saying like, oh, like the world is so messed up and this modern society is like sort of bewitched about everything. Like they forgot what is like truly important, and so like they're like, we need to bring it back, and apparently bringing it back is by killing a bunch of people.
Yeah, so I mean, he says like we need to protect, like it's our time to protect or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
same beliefs.
yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
Well, as always, a very thought-provoking show to say the least. We only got a few episodes left. Four left, Mark.
It's kind of sad. Like, I mean, like, I'm excited to see the end. Like, very excited. Also, slightly excited to like be done with this and to be like, oh
Not
man,
be
like,
mindfucked every week.
yeah, no, seriously, it's a lot. Like,
It's especially in these later episodes, it gets similar to like Monogatari, where it's just like you're kind of reading and trying to like analyze like not only what's going on in the episode, but like the overarching story as a whole. And it's sometimes takes a lot out of you. So
Not as much though.
Not
as much
definitely
yeah.
not as bad.
know where I'm going like this, like between subtitles and like what's going on the screen. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just thought provoking in like what they say and who they're talking about and stuff. So
yeah, Ikuhara shows, man. Maybe Uten is next. Maybe we got it.
Yeah,
Uta's way longer though.
I think I might be the only person who hasn't seen it that's on the show. I think Alex said he's seen it, right?
You guys have all seen it way more recently than I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Minus Mark, because he's never seen it.
Yeah.
Never seen it, so.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right, so let's move into our second Orishiri's show, Shin Sekaiori. Orishiri Shin Sekaiori. Every week it's harder to say. Let's open it up. This week I just wanted to mention that the at least at the start for sure the music and sound direction has been like super on point. You get like those big horror vibes like right off the bat, especially when they're being followed on the river and stuff. Just like I thought I'd call that out because that was set the mood very well, I would say. Let's get into some of my thoughts here though. I thought this was kind of like, to us it feels dumb, especially since we're kind of thinking, or at least some of our theories that we're coming up with. But the whole idea of Saki being upset at like the situation, being upset at like the community and stuff. But according to our theories, like I was saying, is like, isn't she the one who caused all this like to happen? At least how we're theorizing. So like our idea is that Maria and Mamoru have somehow teamed up with the queer rats, and they are working with them, and there's either one of them is the fiend, or they've spawned some sort of fiend that is ultimately responsible for kind of taking out the community as a whole. But like, I don't know, I just thought it was weird like how upset she was getting, and we're like, didn't you like sort of cause this?
A little bit. I feel like they forget that, like she mentioned it, like sort of in the episode, was like, oh, like you sent us there. But yeah, absolutely. Like they are the sole cause of the queer rats, advancing so fast and becoming what they are to this day, or to that day, whatever, in the future, whatever. Like, yeah, this is entirely on them.
We talk about a lot, like the hubris of the community as a whole, but go ahead, Rolando.
At the same time, like it is their fault, but you have to remember that they're part of this experiment, and the education committee let them do things on their own free will. So the sole responsibility for this, like, lies on the adults.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
And honestly, like, it's probably Tomiko's hubris, because she was like, I need to find a successor. Let's, make an experiment. And the one time that she does this is what leads to the fall of their society.
Yeah. It's almost like their experiment worked too well. Like,
yeah. This is what happens.
Yeah, like
you diverge just, you're going on the straight line, you diverge just a little bit, and now that turns into like a big turn, and here we are. It's a lot.
Yeah, because it's scary, because Saki also mentions it too. It's like, oh, like, were they actually correct in being so fearful, and is that like the reason why they were able to just kill off kids left and right for whatever probable cause? It's a little bit like, it's fair, because at this point, like, with the threat of the fiend, like, that fiend can just destroy their entire community. They can destroy their society. And they like Tomiko said, like, they have nothing to stop. They can do nothing to stop it. I kind of feel like that's not true, because that one dude seems pretty powerful. But I mean, anyways, like, that fiend could, wreck some shit up. Like, so,
well, she to your point, she even said, like, we got extraordinarily lucky last time that they kind of got out of it.
I don't think they had a power user like their current leader then, though.
True. Yeah. Moving on, I kind of, so Saki and Satoru kind of get separated from the group. They get, what I'm thinking is they get spared by the fiend as they come down the river, because there's no way that it just like leaves them there.
It knew.
Seemed way too convenient, and I'll bring that up in a second. But are you guys getting like similar vibes to like what happened on the school trip the first time? They kind of get separated from the group. They go on this like adventure, and then come out of it on the other side. I think the big difference here is, to your question, Mark, that you raised, where did Satoru go after the big explosion?
I don't. Yeah,
it's a good question.
Saki was just like, well, I'm out. Like,
I know. I think he's fine.
I'm sure he's fine too. Yeah, I would.
Saki knocked him out of the smoke. He probably was able to figure his own shit out.
Yeah, if he got off screen, I would be kind of mad. Like, I was starting to like Satoru.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like to your question, or I guess to your comment, this does have like very similar feelings as the cave and the whole escape plan. I think the only difference now is that, like, they're obviously grown up, but they are mature in like the ways that they're thinking about things and going about it, as opposed to before they were just so naive, yet somewhat overly confident with their powers, that they just kind of just blasted through shit and trusted the queer rats probably a little too much as before. Now they're trying to think through things logically and work through problems and trying to survive. So yeah, it's good to see that growth.
Yeah. Kind of back to the point of the Fiend kind of knowing that they were there. I have this idea. You guys can tell me if you agree or not. But Saki kind of has this vision as she's getting blown up and blown away. But she has the idea. She says she thinks back and like Maria says to her like, "I will protect you." And so I'm kind of thinking it's something along those lines. Like they maybe her and Mamoru like maybe created the Fiend, or one of them is the Fiend. And it's trying to get revenge on the community as a whole, but still keeping that promise of protecting Satoru, because they were in that group, they went through the same things. They're all pissed at how Shun was handled. They erased him from the memories, tried to replace him with the new guy, and just what they tried to do to Mamoru. So that's my theory. I don't know, Rolando. Do you think that holds any truth in this situation, or?
I think there's some truth behind it, but I also sort of think that the Fiend is Mamoru.
We got a better, I think, picture of it, and it was like a couple frames of it, and it had that really distinct hairstyle that you were mentioning from before. So I have, it's either him or maybe like their child or something, because certain amount of time has passed, that is a possibility, I think. But I think it's one or the other for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of have a feeling it's Mamoru at this point too. They kept saying she from the previous episodes, but I did notice like that couple of frames where like the hair isn't as long, it's like sort of short, and then I don't know if you guys saw the preview, the short preview for the next episode, but we kind of saw some red hair. So
and it wasn't short.
Yeah. I think too that Maria has like the ability to kind of manipulate Mamoru, and so I think that could be a possibility too. She's like, he's out of control, but she can control him somehow. So I could see something like that happening.
I mean, he could also still have enough, I guess, sanity intact that he could recognize that those are his friends.
Probably. If anything, it's like you mentioned, where he's sort of like feeling them out and sort of noticing or knowing that it's them.
Yeah.
Well, and he knows too that because the school board and stuff like didn't come after them like when they ran away in the snow, like they protected them, allowed them to kind of escape. So that he's kind of returning the favor. So if he has that sanity, able to have that thought process, that's definitely something that could happen, I feel. Yeah. The last thing I wanted to bring up was just this situation as a whole kind of reminds me a little bit of what happened to the ethics committee leader, years ago, kind of like when she was telling the story of how they survived the Fiend before. And it's almost like too convenient, right? Like this whole situation happens. She kind of hands it off to Saki. He's like, here you go. And just like how the show is like narrated, it feels like that was a foreshadowing to this, where it's like she's retelling the story of everything that happened, and now she's the ethics committee leader, and she's leading her version of society as they come out of this crisis or whatever. It seems to set up perfectly for that, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Almost seems like it's as you kind of said, it's sort of being played out in a sense that she's using this story as sort of a warning, but also like retelling of how they came to be, or where she is at, I guess, at that point.
Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I think unfortunately this is the only way for Saki to realize that like she starts to say it this episode, but she's like, I can never really forgive, the ethics committee for what they do to us, but I understand why they do it, because they're afraid of this.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this is just how she learns about, or how she just understands. Like, this is the only way for her to understand, is for her to become the next leader. She has to experience just the sheer amount of fear that can be produced from a human gone berserk.
Basically the same thing that what's her name, Tomiko experiences. The exact same thing, because I mean, you see her like in that hospital, literally scared to death, and like she said, we got extraordinarily lucky. I was able to poison him, and that's that. But we don't get as in-depth the story as we're getting now, obviously, because this is the story that they're wanting to tell. She's kind of telling, tidbit of like what happened, but you got to assume it's on a similar level. Him walking around just basically tearing shit up, killing people. We kind of see the tail end of it, but it's got to be on a similar scale.
Yeah, but there's also like the possibility of the queer rats having some sort of hand,
Sure.
in the whole fiend being
it's
controlled.
It's definitely a little bit different because of that element for sure. But again, they kind of brought that on themselves.
That's what they get for like genetically producing these things and enslaving them.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. They even mentioned that too. They're like, what does she say? I have a note here. She's like, oh, is this what drove the queerettes to go to such lengths? It's like, yeah, of course, they were enslaved for hundreds of years. Like, duh.
You forcefully evolved them. That's your own fault.
Yeah, seriously. And then you just like you feel like you could just kill them and treat them like shit for so long. Yeah, of course. Like, of course they're gonna have some sort of animosity towards you. Like, yeah.
All right. Well, that is both episode 20s of Penguin Drum and Shinsekai Yori. Anything else to add for either show?
We're almost done.
We're almost done. It's been a good ride though. I feel like I think we made the right decision to pick these shows because we'll talk about them a little bit later. But this season doesn't have too much to talk about in terms of thought-provoking shows or big conversation halves.
Yeah, this season is fun. Like, there's a lot of fun shows,
sure.
but
For sure.
it's not like the best for just talking about like you said, thought-provoking, bringing up a lot of discussion points.
Yeah,
There's a lot
Worked
of
out.
thought-provoking in one of the shows.
Thoughts.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. All right, moving on. Let's talk about these beers. I'm excited to talk about this one, Rolando. I hope you are too, but we'll start out with the Mosaic Hedge Witch Modern Times limited release for September, or at least the first half of September. Rolando and I were lucky enough to pick up a 4-pack of this, and Mark, hopefully you'll have a couple coming your way because this is a delicious beer. I don't know, Rolando, do you want to start us off with this one?
You hold it up. It looks so nice.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big cloudy boy,
Very
hazy
cloudy
boy.
beer. Sorry, let me cover the not actual brewer on the glass.
Oops.
I was like, oh, nice cup. Oh, wait a minute.
This beer actually, because it's so Mosaic heavy, reminds me of like those classic traditional New England style IPAs, and it's done very well in my opinion. This is the type of hazy IPA that I feel like Alec would be okay with the bitterness of it because it's not very bitter, but it's also not like the MT7 where it felt like there was that resiny bitter taste that was a little too much. But like this is just like a very classic New England style IPA.
It's very similar to the MT7 for sure in terms of like the mouthfeel, the creaminess. But to Rolando's point, the flavor profile is I don't know. Would you say it's like a little bit cleaner, Rolando? Especially in the finish, because the finish is where you get all the hops. It's where you get that bitterness, that dankness. But it is like, we talk about balance a lot. It is like on
It's
point
there, yeah.
balance, yeah. Because like up front, it is, and you can smell it too. It really smells like how it tastes, like super tropical, kind of fruity, big pineapple notes for sure. And like a little bit of pine, just a little bit of pine, and that's like how it finishes.
It finishes fruity, and then there's pine, and that's what like cuts off the fruitiness.
And it is like the word like cut off is like perfect because it's like fruit, and then boom, you get hit with the bitterness, and then it's gone, and you're like, I need to drink more of this. It's so delicious. Man, this is a good beer.
Look forward
this
to it.
this is a DIPA that you want to, like, if you've never experienced like a true New England style, and you want to move into like a heavier, high alcohol content DIPA, because this is 9%. This is the beer I would recommend going to. MT7 is close, but I think this is better.
I would recommend this over the MT7 for sure.
Nice.
It's not. I feel like the MT7 is probably maybe a little bit easier to drink because it doesn't have the bitter finish of this. But this is actually what I was looking for in the MT7.
This is what we talked about, right? We wanted it to finish stronger. Because the MT7 is just like super smooth, super creamy. You drink it and you down it and you're like, this is like delicious. This has that extra that we were talking about. This is like delivers it, and I'm like so happy that you agree with me, Rolando. Because like as I first smelled it, I'm like, this is the MT7, and then I took a drink and it's like, oh, it finishes perfect. It's man, I rated MT7 a 5. What do we think? What do we think we're gonna give this one?
5.25.
He's gonna give it a 7, an MT7.
MT7 out of 5.
Yeah, man, this is a good beer.
Yeah.
Sad it's limited. And it's funny too, because when I went to go pick this up, they had some MT7s left over. I'm like, should I get another 4-pack? Because it was like a really good beer. It was like one of my favorite beers. I almost didn't pull the trigger, but man, this satisfies in a better way like what the void that was hitting from the beer that you gave us, Mark, the Trillium from a long time ago. So
this is
heavy metal.
definitely a lot like the Trillium beers. Although I will say that the Trillium beers that I've had, there was just something a little bit more like on the like just a tiny bit like just bit more fruity and like very refreshing on the palate, and then it was that nice clean finish.
Yeah,
that this is not quite there, but I think
I agree.
The pine finish on this is bigger.
I agree. The Trillium is closer to MT7, but it gets the balance a little bit better. So it's like it's in between the MT7 and this, where it's like it finishes bitter, but not as bitter as this. So I do think that is probably a better beer. But man, Modern Times is like on both sides of it. It's like it's so close.
It's funny because it's like when we talked about the MT7, I was like, I either want it to be less of that resiny bitterness, and more fruity, or just more bitter at the end. And this is the more bitter end. And I think if you compare it to like the heavy metal from Trillium, that's the other way. That's the less bitter on the end, but more fruity.
It's like a more full fruity flavor. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny that we see like the whole spectrum of everything.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to try that now. Sounds amazing.
Look forward to it, sir. We'll get into ratings in just a second, but Mark, why don't you describe your beer for us before we do that?
Yeah, so again, this is the Institution Ale Co. Into the Wishing Well Double IPA. So this is brewed with Citra, Columbus, and Mosaic hops, pale and Pilsner malt. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's like the first smell that I got, as soon as I opened it and poured it out, got a little pine, and I was getting a little bit of apple, which is kind of interesting. It's a little bit unique for like a double IPA. And then definitely like the sort of citrusy notes are coming through. Of course, it's not like a juice haze bomb that you guys have. This is more of the West Coast style double IPA. Like. Yeah, but it's really good. Yeah, it's actually like a very like beautiful sort of amber color. Yeah. Yeah, and this is it's kind of been a while since I've had like a traditional West Coast double IPA, and this is actually pretty good. It's really solid. Got a nice full flavor, really piney like right up the front. Doesn't finish like too bitter, so it's sort of odd for like a double IPA. I wouldn't say it's like as like refreshing as like a Pliny. Something about the Pliny, like the way it finishes, is just like very smooth. This sort of just has like a funky kind of bitterness that just like kind of ends, and then you're just kind of left with like a weird aftertaste. I don't know, like it up front is like it's like nice and fruity, but at the end it just kind of is sort of funky and then just kind of disappears. So it's like not like, I'm glad it doesn't linger, but I think it's just like all these like different like fruit notes that I'm getting.
Damn. They agree. I was driving by, I just agreed.
Whoa, all right. It's a pretty solid beer though. I have to say, like I mentioned, it's been a while since I've had a West Coast style double IPA. I mean, I think the last 2 double IPAs, and I still have 2 of them, are from Brewery West, and those are like, juice bombs. I have the Dig My Earth. That's what I've been drinking over the weekend, and that one's really good. That's brewed with like Simcoe, so not quite the same, but. Yeah, this is a solid beer. It's got a nice profile to it. I do wish it had a little bit more to it though. Like
it's that type of tropical IPAs that were around before the hazies got popular, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's sort of what it is. It's not as like piney or bitter as I was kind of expecting it to be, which I don't know if it's like a great thing or a bad thing. I don't know. It just sort of feels like it's not quite hitting that like double IPA-ness. I don't know. This almost just feels like it's just like a West Coast IPA that is at 8%. Like, I mean,
it's just a double IPA, double West Coast.
It's just a double West Coast. Yeah, I mean,
double it up.
It's pretty good. I'm gonna enjoy these, but I wanted a little bit more out of it, I have to say.
Well, why don't you go ahead and rate it for us, Mark?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 4. This is like the first beer that I've had from Institution. I like the can art; it's really cool.
Yeah.
There it is, in case you haven't seen it or didn't get to see it. Yeah, kind of funky, but yeah, I think the flavors are kind of there, and I feel like I'm wanting a little bit more out of it, so I'll give it a 4.
Nice.
Cool. Rolando, jumping back into the Hedge Witch.
Hold on.
What are you gonna?
Before that, Mark, what rating did you give it?
A 4.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, go. What was your question, Drew?
Rate the Hedge Witch, man. What's it gonna be for you?
I mean, it's hard because I know there's a beer that I think slightly elevates another aspect of the beer that I think is good, but I think this is still a very good beer, and I think it's better than the MT7 in my honest opinion. I saw that this was brewed at the Anaheim Brewery for Modern Times. So
really cool.
Yeah, it's cool because we're getting a lot of this month we're getting a lot of the different Modern Times breweries like across, I guess, the West Coast.
The West Coast, yeah.
So like another one of the beers that we're most likely going to have on the show is the one that was brewed in the Portland Brewery, and it's just cool to see all of these different locations like putting out their brews and like just kind of being of the same quality that we're used to from Modern Times. Yeah. And like I have to like applaud the Anaheim Brewery for this beer. This is a very good beer. And I keep thinking of like the Trillium. And I honestly, like, even though I think I personally like the Trillium more, I still really like this beer, and like I can't really find a fault with it, so I have to give this a 5.
Yahoo!
Nice. Yahoo! You know what's really cool is that like from perusing and like being on like the craft beer subreddit, you see a lot of people who like, constantly post pictures of like Treehouse and Trillium, like, and saying like you just like see it nonstop. But like whenever somebody posts a picture of like a Modern Times beer out here, people are like, oh man, like I can't wait to try that, or like I've been looking to see if I can get my hands on some. And it's really cool to see that sort of, I guess, competition a little bit, and like how people out in the East Coast aren't able to get these beers, and it's actually really, really like really awesome that we have a sort of like, I guess,
localized.
We're spoiled.
Yeah.
We're spoiled for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool. I feel honored that we are able to enjoy so many of their beers, on a frequent basis, and especially the quality that they are.
Except for Alec, unfortunately.
Except for he's close. He can
at least McKellar ships to him now.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
that is a positive. We talk about McKellar quite a lot on this show, so it's good that he can at least get in on that. But I don't know. Modern Times has been like it's been Mikkeller and Modern Times at least on the West Coast for me for a long time, and it's just like man, they just keep coming out with consistent good beers, limited releases, and
they don't stop coming. And
they don't stop coming, and it is.
Watch out.
We are spoiled.
You don't want to hit that DMCA.
I have to agree with you, Rolando. It's and I rated the MT7 a 5. This has got to be a 5 for me because I think this is a better beer, which I'm surprised at because I honestly didn't think I would have something as good as that so recently. And it's like
you mean like a couple weeks later.
like a month later. It's like, oh, I'm having like an even better beer than that of the same style. Like, what is going on? We're spoiled.
Yeah, we really
I don't have much else to add to what you said, Rolando, because I agree on all points. Mark, I think you're gonna like this one.
Nice.
And yeah, that's it.
Wait. Say that. What did you give it again, Drew?
5.
Nice bird.
It is a nice bird. It is a very nice bird.
Nice bird out of 5.
I would sing Driving Tory except about hedge witches. Driving hedge witch.
I have to say, so it's like I think I put Modern Times as my second favorite brewery last year to Mikkeller. Like it's kind of tough. I think this year might be Modern Times at the top of my list for the year.
I've gotten a ton of exclusives from Mikkeller, but this latest batch, I still have a couple beers to try from Modern Times from the special release. The first round of special release was okay. I think it had a couple goods, a couple duds. I had the Portland beer. I was cheating and had to have it. So I had that one. And I've had this one, but I have like 3 or 4 more to try. But compared to the limited releases that Mikkeller's been coming out since the pandemic, I think Modern Times, depending on these next couple of beers, is maybe edging out Mikkeller for me, which is, I never thought I would say, because I really, really like Mikkeller, but man.
Yeah, just comparing the exclusives between the two, I'm enjoying the Modern Times ones more than I enjoyed the Mikkeller ones. And mostly because I did not really enjoy the sour offerings that Mikkeller had in their exclusives.
Yeah, they were okay.
Yeah.
That was it. They weren't like amazing. They weren't bad. They was just like, meh.
Yeah.
There.
Like I like sour beers, and it was like,
You guys missed out on a lot of their sketch series, which is kind of like the series they've been releasing like since the pandemic, kind of like new stuff all the time. But they had a ton of double dry hop stuff in there, a ton of DIPA, like almost all of them were DIPAs, either West Coast or New England style. Some double dry hop, some not. Those were like extremely excellent. And I know you guys, I think, missed out because I think you guys bought like the first wave from them, but they've been consistently coming out with stuff. And lucky for me, I'm close enough so I can just drive there now. So I've been able to taste a lot of those. But with that said, too, like I said, Modern Times, it's just as good, if not better, than those. So
if the next batch releases and had like their stock when I next visit my parents, and I'll go and grab some because they're like right by there.
Yeah, there's one I've been wanting to have it on the show, but this week actually would have been good for it because it's a DIPA. But Pineapple Express, super dank DIPA, and it's very good. But
the only conversation we can have because Alex's not here.
I wish he liked IPAs more, man. There's just so many good IPAs right now. It's like it's like unbelievable, like how many good IPAs there are.
At the same time, we can't really have a conversation about sour beers when you're here.
I'll drink them, but it's just like they're just not as good. The one thing that I guess is good about that is like there's less sour beers, I would say.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the thing about we were talking about this the other day between Rolando, Alec, and I is around this time is a great time for beer, and Alec was the one who mentioned it.
Yeah.
And it's this is where we're getting a whole bunch of different styles that you don't get throughout the rest of the year. The Märzen Fest beers, Oktoberfest stuff. It's a good time for beer right around now.
Your pumpkin ale's coming up.
I'm not a huge fan of pumpkin ales, but at least I know you guys really enjoy them, so at least you get
I'm on
that
the fence
too.
with them.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
I don't like the bad ones, but the good pumpkin
Yeah,
ales
that's true.
are very good.
I finally threw out that Shipyard pumpkin ale that I had in my fridge for like a year and a half. I threw it out like a month ago, so yeah, that goes to show.
Isn't that the
how
one
much
that
I
we
enjoyed
got
that.
like 2 years ago for the podcast?
Yeah, it's been like almost
Just been
2
sitting in
years.
your fridge.
It was like
I had one too. It made it through like a move.
You're like, why would you even keep it at that point?
It's just like in there, and I'm just like, I don't want to drink that. And I
just
say
like
that
Jill-
like every time I open the fridge, I don't want to drink that.
I was like, why do I have that? And then I grab something different, and then just forget about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had last year's pumpkin nitro ale or whatever. I was like, why is this still in my fridge? I opened that up and poured it down the sink. That beer was so bad. Fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't age any better.
No.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into our news break. A bunch of Crunchyroll virtual announcements. I won't go through all of them, but talk about some of the key highlights here. Onyx Equinox, upcoming original series from Sophia Alexander, is set to air in November. Had not heard of this, but a lot of folks are excited about it, so thought I'd mention that there. Jujutsu Kaisen. October 2nd premiere for the latest hit on Shonen Jump. Mark, you're nodding your head for this one. You've heard of this series?
Yeah, I started reading it. I kind of dropped it a couple months ago, but it's pretty good. And I was telling Orlando, like, this is like your typical shonen show, and like, you know what I mean. You know what to expect. This is just shonen, just tropes left and right, but it just like takes it to the next level. But it's fun. It's a cool show. I'm gonna enjoy it. I think it'll be cool to watch it animated. I'm sure you guys will like it. So, yeah.
Cool. So that's set, like I said, October 2nd premiere. So look forward to that. Alec would be happy. Dr. Stone second season set to air January 2021. So the winter premiere. I don't think the three of us are looking forward to it, but
Not gonna watch it.
I'm definitely not gonna watch it, but
No.
people are excited about it.
People are really
They like it, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be there. This is kind of a surprise. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Shenmue, the Dreamcast sensation,
Which released the sequel recently.
it did. Yeah, 15, 20 years after the second one, leaving everybody kind of hanging. But Crunchyroll and Adult Swim are collabing on this. More to come later. So I don't know if anybody asked for it, but they're delivering it, I guess. So
spoilers: the story still hasn't ended even after this game. So
they're just stringing you along.
This is like what?
They're in for the long haul.
Like 20 years, like.
How long does it take for the main character to get his revenge? Find out next time.
Find out next decade on Shenmue.
I don't know if you guys have played the game, but it is a wacky game.
I've never played the first game, but I watched my cousin play it because I didn't have a Dreamcast until Sega went out of the console business. But I loved watching my cousin play it because it was so fun to watch like the combat in it at the time. Now, if you played that sort of combat, you'd be like, "This is
awful.
Is stupid."
It looks awful. Yeah.
But the story sold it.
I think if you want to play a game that's similar, play the Yakuza games.
Yeah, I agree.
They are better versions of that. It was revolutionary at the time. It did not age well.
No.
It did not age well. And that's what I'll say about that. Moving on. Shield Hero. You guys are excited for this. Shield Hero Season 2. No release date yet, but they announced that it will be airing on Crunchyroll. So that's coming. They had some promotional art and some things like that for it. And just some collabs that are coming up for Crunchyroll. They are partnering with Sentai Filmworks and Loot Crate.
Get pins.
get pins. Is that going to be part of their like tiered?
Yeah, because we talked about their announcements for the tiered system. I would be very surprised if a loot crate was not involved in one of the tier systems. So
yeah, because they kept putting like little graphic icons of like badges and whatever gear that's going to come with the subscriptions or the higher tier subscriptions. Right. But I mean, I guess that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, some Love Live news. Wouldn't be a news section if we didn't have some Love Live news. That's a jab at you, Rolando. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I'm gonna put Love Live news there whenever there is Love Live news.
It's fair.
Even if there is no Love Live news, he's gonna put Love Live in there.
So the DG Gaku anime to air for fall 2020. So are you looking forward to this, Rolando?
Yeah, they announced it in December of last year. And no one heard anything because of the whole pandemic this year. But they had Nijigaku had their second live this last weekend, and they announced it on the first day. So they're like, "Hey, we're actually airing in a few weeks," and then everyone's like, "Oh, what?"
Surprise! It's here.
Surprise!
It looks pretty. Yeah, it looks pretty good though. I kind of want to watch it.
Yeah, it's like from what I've seen of the preview trailer, it's basically.
And I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, Drew will put the link in the chat. But from the preview trailer, it's basically the first story, first part of the story from Love Live All Stars, but they edited it a bit. So they took out, they changed some stuff. Like, I can already see that, like, they changed the initial encounter with school idols in this anime with something different, and it's still the same. Like, I get it. I understand why they're doing it. I don't think they're trying to have Muse and Aqua in the canon for this anime. I don't know. Exactly.
Oh, you think they're gonna
because the All Stars canon is different than the actual anime timeline.
I see.
In the All Stars timeline, they all exist at the same time. In the actual like anime timeline, the story timeline, that doesn't happen because Muse is first, and then years later is Aqua, and then it couldn't happen. So like it makes sense why it changes.
Why they would change.
Yeah.
All right. That's cool. Interesting.
Cool. So more Love Live, which is, I don't know, it's being more into idols now than past. I think it's kind of exciting. I will ask this question, Rolando, and I think I know the answer to it, but let's inform our viewers as well. I can go into this anime not have watched previous seasons.
Yes.
There you go. So if you are out there and you're thinking, I just can't get into it, there's too many other season stuff, this is independent. You can get into idols.
You can watch any of the Love Lives, regular, original, Sunshine, or this one without any prior knowledge.
There you go. So if you like the character design of this band or idol group or whatever you want to call it more than the others, jump right in. If you like Muse a little bit better, maybe watch one of the earlier seasons. You can pick.
The Nijigaku crew is pretty good too. They got a lot of best girl potential in there.
Interesting character design for sure.
It's not the same character designer of the actual the actual Love Live series. It's a different one they used for the anime. Yeah. Because there's another Love Live anime that's going to be coming out.
Right. And we have talked about that before, so. Yeah. Let's jump into Happy Hour. So current airing shows. One of our shining stars for this season, The Misfit of Demon King Academy. Man, what a wild ride this show is.
So good.
We were talking about it the other day, and we love the theme that keeps coming up where Anos Voldigord will just res people and then continue to kill them. Excellent. Keep doing it.
From episode 1, he did that, and then you just it's a recurring thing, and it's just so fucking good.
I love the callback. I love that it just continues to happen just constantly. It's so satisfying too, though. Like, it's awful to say that he just keeps killing somebody, but it's so satisfying because they're all like pieces of shit. Like,
super
exactly
super satisfying, especially this week's episode where he's like, well, I killed you, or I could kill you, but instead I'm going to damage your source of power, which is worse than dying.
You gotta deal with the pain.
You gotta respect that, dude. And
my boy Hobo in chat, he put it perfectly in our Discord the other day, and he put it in chat here as well. Every week there is a reverse Uno card, and it just like one ups itself every week, and it is just so good. This show doesn't have much substance, but God, it is so satisfying to watch.
It's so amazing.
So some of the stuff that we got this week, and this is just this week's episode. We have Demons Have Love Too. Don't underestimate demons because they are able to love. We have the Idols of Demon King Academy.
We got Spirit Bomb.
we got huge ass spirit bombs. We got people who are not being killed, but their source is being damaged, which is worse than being killed. This show's got it all, and it is a joy to watch.
Can we also? I don't think we've ever talked about this, but this is the only series that has actually shown like a female character that is not a stick. Because one of Anus's one of his fan club is a of the THICC variety.
That's true.
Yeah. They got a whole lot. They got a whole lot.
Everyone loves him.
Wide spectrum of women.
The whole spectrum, not even just women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's not to like about Anus Voldigo?
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
What's not to like about Anus? That's correct.
I don't know, man.
God, what a great show.
Yeah. The big Genki Dama. That was awesome.
You did call it though, Rolando, how I can't remember her name. Purple haired bitch is
I don't remember
the true reincarnation of our boy Cannon. So you kind of called that, but
it's too obvious. You got to add the hero girl to your harem.
Yeah,
demon twin girls.
Makes sense.
You had the promise.
Yeah. You got Lei, the swordsman. He's in the harem.
Yeah. I like his whole segment too. He's just like, "Oh, you mean this sword?"
Hey, that's my sword. Give it back.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
I'm gonna take your other sword too. No. So amazing.
It was
Good
funny.
show.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
I'm gonna be sad when this one's over because it has been like so fun to watch, and it's not a show that you would think like at least me like I would like, but man, yeah. I love this show.
I wasn't expecting you to like the show as much as you.
I will say though, because Hobo's in the chat, Trinity 7 is a better show than this, and that's all I got to say about that.
That's fair.
Let's talk about Rental Girlfriend.
No.
Lot of we go from our the high from Misfit to Demon King to the low. I love this show, but I know how you guys feel about it. At least Rolando.
Rolando's so done, dude. He's just over this show.
well, Kazu was kind of a bro this week. Rolando, he set his boy up with his rental girlfriend.
I was okay with this. I was like, okay, yeah, he pulled something for his friend that he got fucking destroyed by worst girl Ruka. Like this,
absolutely
massacred by him. Like he even says it in that episode. He's like, dude, she just absolutely murdered him. And I just can't stand Ruka for one. And but the fact that I knew seeing this episode, like in the episode preview, like this is what he was gonna do. I was like, okay, like this is how he gets him to go like, hey, I have a rental girlfriend too. But it's also a little convenient because it was like he's like, she doesn't do things a normal rental girlfriend would do, and he asks her the question. He's like, you wouldn't fall in love with a client, would you? And she's like,
well,
I don't know. That's an interesting question. And it's like, oh man, damn it. All right.
Funny you should ask.
That's where the show's going. But I mean, you had to see it going this way. I mean, we talked about it in previous weeks. We knew that Chizuru was in love or falling in love with him. Rolando is asking himself the question, God damn it, why?
It's almost done, so.
Yeah. We do get New Girl next week. This is Mark's girl.
This is my favorite.
I think she's a good trope. At least like how they've introduced her, like super shy, someone you want to protect. So I think we add a good one to the show, but we'll see as she gets introduced next week. But I don't know. I like all of them. I like this show a lot. I think I've beat the horse enough with that. Anything else to add about Rental Girlfriend?
Nah.
Why they should just make a slice of life about Chizuru.
I'd watch it. It'd be good.
Yeah.
Meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
Meh.
Meh. Maybe.
The
She
show
is
is
best
meh.
girl. She is best girl though, but she like the fact that she's falling for Kazuya is
makes
a little,
makes it suck.
makes me angry. He doesn't deserve her. I was gonna say she doesn't deserve him, but no, he doesn't deserve her.
She deserves better than him. Is what is the
Yes.
correct answer.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Can't stand him. Or Ruka. That's why they deserve each other. I don't know, man. Just let's move on. Just move.
Get us out of here.
Get us out of here. Just get me out of get me out of talking.
Let's get into Shonen. Let's go to Shonen Town. Let's talk about Fire Force season 2. We're kind of setting up like what's going to happen in the next arc. I think what happens with Benimaru is he gone? I'm gonna guess probably not. We get
who gets knocked out in a shonen anime or shonen story that easily,
especially when you're like you get knocked out by like some no name and you're like a god, like super powerful god. Probably gonna be fine. And at least if we're going off of the OP, I think we get the Smoker arc is starting. He kind of recruits Benimaru. Oh, is it Smoker? Joker? He has Smoke Power. That's why I got that.
I just noticed Smoker. Smoker's from One Piece, but you mean Joker, who's also from One Piece. But
they're all just One Piece characters.
You just name a character, they're probably from One Piece. Joker, yeah, he's dope, man. He's really cool. Yeah, we're gonna see some more of him pretty soon. I actually don't remember what happens to Benimaru, but like, based on how this series has been and will go, it's like it's probably something stupid like somebody just put him to sleep or he's like asleep or something.
It says in the preview that he collapsed.
Yeah,
he'll be alright.
I really don't remember what happened.
I'm rooting for him.
I just remember the fight with Joker, and I was like, oh, this is dope.
My favorite was just like at the end, he's like, hey. Like,
well,
lame.
I was expecting to like kick him or something.
Good stuff. Continues to be good. But as we talked about for most of the shows this season, not much going on to talk about. But I'm excited for you, Mark, for this next show, Uzaki-chan. So you started the first 30 chapters of the show. What do you think? Was it better than your anime watching experience?
Yeah, it's absolutely 100%. Undeniably, it's Uzaki-chan. Like, I don't know if it's her voice, if it's just the character. In the manga, like, she's not as bad. I mean, it's pretty much just like on point with the manga and the anime. I think it's more bearable reading the manga because I can kind of gloss over the Uzaki-chan parts and just kind of just not even pay any attention to like what she says and just kind of just skip through whatever is happening and then get to the punchline, and it's like that's kind of funny. But that's the entirety of the show to me. It's not that funny and it's not that cute. And she's super annoying, so I don't think I'm gonna continue reading it. It was kind of just,
It's okay not to like it, Mark. It's
fine.
okay.
Yeah, it was just kind of like I was just reading it to read it and to get through it at that point. I think like 10 chapters in, I was already like, that's all right.
You don't have to like it.
Yeah, you don't have to like it. That's the joy. That's the joy of watching these things.
Yeah, I kept like reading like some of the chapters at like well past where we are in the anime. And I was like, yeah, some of them were kind of funny, but yeah, no, it's just not for me. There's just better shows or better series that are out there that I want to have.
If you want a quick read, instead of Uzaki-chan, you should read Tomo-chan wa Onnanoko.
Is that the one about the businesswoman?
No, she's this one's about like this very like tomboyish girl. They're all one page chapters. It was a web manga. Tomo-chan is a girl.
Tomo-chan is a girl. I've read it.
You've read it?
I read the entirety.
You read the entirety?
Like, yeah, like a couple months ago. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I think I stayed up until like 3 a.m. one night and like read it. Yeah.
Nice.
That's a better version of this type of show.
Oh, by far.
Story.
Yep. Yeah, because there's like elements of like romance that are actually in it, and it's like, you know, the characters themselves. Yes, the character's not annoying. The characters themselves are very likable, and it's just I don't know. It's different.
You got Misuzu in there, who
exactly. She's great.
Best wingman and also
best wingman, but yeah, that's a good series. And then like if you're into series where like, you know, the main character female is like picking on the other main character male, it's like you have better series like Nagatoro or Yansha no Gal or the JK Gal to whatever. Like there's so many other series that can fulfill that niche are better than Uzaki-chan.
You mean where they playfully tease instead of just outright bully?
Yeah, exactly. And you think you know what it was like from watching the anime, and like what really turned me off from it, and like the very first episode or second episode was where forget the dude's name. He goes to the movie and she's teasing him about seeing a movie by himself.
Yeah.
Like,
and everyone else is
actually
like, hey, like, I'm here to see a movie by myself.
Yeah,
fuck you.
That actually kind of pissed me off. Like, and when I was rereading it, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with watching a movie by yourself? Like, I think that's totally normal. That should be okay in society. Like, why would you tease this person about it? I don't know. Yeah, see, that's like that. I think starting it off like that is probably what just made me immediately not like her. And then it was just a series of annoying events.
Yep.
We got lemony snickets over here.
Like for sure this show is not like greatest of all time, you know, best at what it does, but I think Rolando and I probably agree. It's cute, it's kind of funny, it's at points, and you know, it's not annoying to watch. It's like I don't like, this isn't the show that I like look forward to every week, but I don't say like, oh god, I gotta watch Uzaki-chan. It's like I know I'm gonna get a few I know I'm gonna get a few laughs out of it. It's you know, interesting enough. I like all the characters, and
it's my perfect wind down show.
Yeah,
like when I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And I'm like, all right, fuck, I need to go to bed. It's like, all right, let me put this on. All right, I'm gonna fall asleep if I watch this.
Yeah.
That's become Lapis Relights for me. I like enjoy watching that show because it's like I don't have to.
It's a wind down show, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to pay attention to what's going on. Like it's just cute girls doing cute anime idol magic things. Yeah.
Fair enough. Anything you want to say about Decadence, Mark?
Oh man, it's getting good. It's really good right now. This show is definitely not for everyone, but I think it's cool. I think I really like the direction that it's been going. This might be like up there in one of my favorite series of the season. So
cool.
Yeah.
And last note here, Mark started Minami K.
Oh yeah. Rolando and I were watching Minami K because I was looking for another like show to watch just kind of casually, and while we were building Gundam and not watching Gundam. So yeah, we started watching Minami K because I had never seen it before, and I love it. I think it's fucking hilarious. See, that's a good like comedy show with some really funny characters.
This is why I said this is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
Yeah, I think I can't recommend this show to anybody who hasn't seen it before. It's just so funny. Like it's like very wholesome, and you hit like all the tropes of the characters, and they just stick to it just like perfectly, you know, throughout all of the sketches, and it's just a good time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as someone who's watched this multiple times before, I'm like, oh shit, they introduced this joke this early. And it's just so funny.
Real, the callbacks. Sensei! Yeah, just keep, that's all they say in that one TV show. It's so amazing. And then the fighting game.
Oh, yeah. Sensei! like, if you want a it's a slice of life, but it's also like a 4-panel manga. If you want that sort of comedy, this is the one I would recommend. So it's like, a lot of people like recommend stuff like Azumanga Daioh, which is also a good show. But this probably has more appeal, especially if you like a lot of the tropes that are starting to become not okay now. But like the tropes of like the mid to mid to late 2000s to like the teen 2000s, like there's a lot that this show covers. The first season is probably the best, and then the fourth season after that, second and third seasons, like it was and then like later episodes of both of those got better. But first season and fourth season were done by the same director, and you know that director knows comedy. But I highly recommend this series if you've never seen it, and
it's so good.
Read it too.
It's also a manga.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I might have to just go look it up. I think once we finish the first season, I'll probably start reading the manga at that point. Because I'm really loving it. I'm looking forward to the next time we start watching it.
Yep.
It's funny.
Tell me
it's
when.
hilarious.
I'm enjoying rewatching it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that kind of wraps it up for us for this week. Our one announcement, doing Clannad rewatches. So changed our schedules to Sunday night, so 7 p.m. PST. We will continue this Sunday with episodes 10 and 11. Feel free to join the Discord as we'll be streaming it there. Speaking of Discord, animeondraft.com/Discord. That's where you can find that link. Join up for memes, anime talk, beer talk, kind of what we do on the show is what we talk about in the Discord. So again, animeondraft.com/Discord. You can also check out our website, animeondraft.com. It has links out to all of our different socials, links to the Discord, links to the podcast. Basically any questions that you have about where we're represented at, go check us out on the website. Speaking of socials, Twitter at Anime on Draft, Instagram Anime on Draft Podcast, YouTube Anime on Draft, twitch.tv/Anime on Draft. Turn on notifications. We currently stream Mondays starting around 6:30 to 7 Pacific time. Follow us here to get your live podcast stream in action. You can also look at the beers as we're drinking them, and a little bit more of an interactive experience. So that's twitch.tv/Anime on Draft. You can also search us anywhere podcast services are found. Just search Anime on Draft. Also, if you'd like, leave us a 5-star rating on those different services. Lets us know that we're doing a good job. Also helps with our visibility. And if you would like to contact us, we have an email, contact@animeondraft.com. You can also reach out Discord, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you prefer, and we will get back to you. You want to see something on the show, you want to be a guest on the show, you want to talk about a topic, reach out to us. I think that's it. Is that it?
I think so.
And that was it.
All right, episode 168 in the books. Looking forward to more Penguin Drum, more Shinsekai Yori next week. We're starting to wrap up this week's seasonal anime. But yeah, I got. It took me out. It took me out with the music. I got red carpeted. I'll see you next week. See you guys.